Welcome to Yoga with Lynn and Leo. We're coming for day 5 of our 19 days of yoga. If you've been following this series, then you'll be familiar with our starting point. We're coming for Adho Svanasana, either from a kneeling position or from the prone action. Come into your pose. Lift your heels to encourage the extension through the front leg. Be sure that all 4 corners of the knee are lifting up. See that you lift the thighs right up into the root of the frontal thigh. From the frontal lift of the leg, encourage the extension through the sole of the foot, from the ball of the foot to the heel. Coming for Uttanasana, either jump or step the legs towards the hands. If you're coming in the classic action, then take the feet towards one another. If you need a little bit more space in the groins, then take the feet to the outer edges of the mat. Coming back for Adho Svanasana, place your hands forward, step or jump the legs back. Again, scan the body, scan the base of the body. Become aware of that extension of the sole of the foot from the ball of the foot all the way towards the heels. Keep that lift through the legs. Become aware of your extension through the spine as you look forward and step or jump the legs towards the hands. Coming for Uttanasana. Ground down into the heels and keep the legs straight and strong. Look forward and come up into a Tadasana action. Stand in Tadasana. Recover for a moment or two. Take the weight back into the heels. Engage with your legs. Lift through the center of the body and broaden across your chest. Soft inhale and exhale. Our next pose is Parsvottanasana. Stand in the center of your mat. Again, for those of you with tight hamstrings and you find forward bends quite challenging, then place the bricks to your right side. Stand in a standing position, take your fingers to your chest. Keep the lift through the center of the body as you soften the knees to jump the legs wide. Maintain the lift of the chest as you take your hands onto your hips. Turn your back foot in and the whole of your front foot and leg out. This is a forward facing pose. Be sure you're grounding into your back leg. Hinge forward. As you can see in the video, Leo is demonstrating the straight back action. Concave your spine if you're placing your hands onto the bricks. Try to maintain this action even if you are coming into the classic pose. If you can go a little bit further in the classic action, then be sure that the back leg is strong, the front leg is lifted to lengthen the whole of the front body along the front thigh. Maintain the straight back action if you're working with a modified version. Keep the legs strong and straight. Press into the hands, look forward, come up with a concave spine as you turn the feet. We're coming for the other side. If you're using the bricks, take your bricks to your left side. Turn the back foot in, the whole of the front leg and foot out. Keep the lift through the center of the body. Keep the legs lifting as you hinge forward. Take your hands either to the bricks or to the floor. Keep grounded in your back leg. Pull up through your front leg and extend. If you're coming into the classic action, use the hands to the floor to lift even further through the thigh. If you're maintaining the straight spine action, again, see that you're working, creating a concave spine. See that you move the shoulder blades towards the back waist, lift the collarbones, ground into the legs as you come up out of the pose. Come into a standing position, turning the feet to face forward, and now bringing the legs together. Stand in Tadasana. Roll your shoulders back and down. Recover for a moment or two. Keep the legs working strongly to extend through the centre of the body. Observe your breath. We're coming for our seated pose. As you can see here, Leo is placing the bolster. If you need a little bit of height, either use a bolster or a couple of foam pads to sit on. Sit with the legs extended straight out in front of you for Dandasana. Keep the extension through the legs to the heels. Imagine you're extending those heels to a wall. Pick up your left leg. Hold on to the shin. Lift up through the centre of the body. We're coming for Marichyasana 1. So turning away from your bent leg, reach your top arm up, lengthen through the side waist, bend your elbow, place the upper arm against the inner thigh. Press the inner thigh and the upper arm towards one another. Use this as a fulcrum to encourage more extension and more turn. Keep the breadth and broadness within the collarbones. Keep the grounded leg straight and strong. Keep that lift through the side waist and the centre of the body. Coming out of the action, turning to face forward. Sit back in Dandasana. Roll your shoulders back and down. Pick up your right leg. Press into the bent leg foot. Take your left hand behind you and reach up with your right arm. Hook the arm in front of the thigh. Press into the fingers, lift up through the centre of the body, ground down with the straight leg. And again, using the fulcrums, the upper arm against the inner thigh, the straight leg grounding down. Use these fulcrums to get more extension, to be able to turn the body a little further. Press into your back hand, keeping the collarbones broad and open. Come back to Dandasana, sitting in Dandasana with your fingers to the sides of the hips. We're coming for Bharadvajasana. Take the legs to your left side. As you can see here in the video, the top foot is placed on the lower foot instep. If you struggle with this action, take the seat slightly higher. Reach up with your left arm. Place the fingers to the outer side of your right thigh and take your right hand back. Be sure you're using the hands as a fulcrum. The left hand to the thigh, the back hand to the floor or to the bolster. Use this to encourage the lift through the centre. Ground down with your left buttock. Keep the lift and openness to keep broadness in the body. To come out of the pose, turning to face forward and straighten the legs in Dandasana. Take your hands to the hips, extend into your heels. Come for the other side. Take your legs now to the right side. Again, top foot on bottom instep. Using the hands, back hand, front hand on the outer thigh. Use this as a fulcrum to encourage more opening within the chest. Be sure that you're grounding down with your right buttock. Keep the breadth and broadness across the collarbones. Keeping the lift as you turn and come out of the pose. Extend the legs into Dandasana. We're coming for Halasana. Those of you who have been following the program, then you'll be familiar with the platform. The platform is created with 4 foam pads wrapped into a yoga mat. Have an extra foam pad or blanket so you can use that as a launch pad. Placing your support onto your mat. As you can see in the video, Leo is adapting the pose by using the bolster as a launch pad. If you find this pose quite challenging, then take your feet to a chair. Judge your distance by taking your hands to the chair legs. Take your hands beside you and roll onto your support, or if you're working in the classic way, then place your feet to the floor. Either way, be sure that the front of the thighs are moving up towards the ceiling. Keep the lift of the back of the pelvis and the extension of the buttocks. To create a deeper action within the upper arms and the shoulders, interlock your fingers and reach the arms away from the back. As you're extending through the arms, extend up through the spine. Keep the legs straight and strong. If you find this modification, this adjustment quite challenging, then keep your hands to your back. Keep the lift through the center of the body. Change the interlock of the fingers and reach back again. Still maintaining the lift through the thighs, the extension through the heels. Keep the side waist lifted as you reach those arms away from you. Come back to supporting your back. Keep the lift through the center of the body. Coming out of the pose, support your lower back. Soften your knees as you roll down. Take your launch pad underneath the back of the head. Just be there for a few moments. Recover. Our next pose is Supta Konasana. If you've been following this practice, then you'll be familiar with the two options. Either take hold of your ankles or place your feet onto a bolster. Lying back in a supine action. If you are able to hold the front of the ankles, then keep the action extending through the center of the body. This will give you a fulcrum to help open the pelvis, creating the broadness and length. If your feet are on the bolster, just work on the inner thighs and the groin. Keep the abdomen soft, the abdomen moving towards the spine side. Just let the whole of the front body release to the back body. Keep the breadth and broadness in the chest area and concentrate on your breath. Soft inhale and soft exhale. If you are new to working in this way, practice regularly. Working passively in poses encourages the body to slowly let go. If you find this quite challenging at first, slowly increase the time each time you practice. You can use modifications for this supine action. You can place a bolster along the spine as well as the feet onto the bolster. The classic action, holding onto the front of the ankles, can be sometimes challenging at the very beginning. Persevere and practice. We're coming out of this pose now and preparing for Savasana. If you'd like to use your bolster underneath your thighs, then do so. Otherwise, with resistance, straighten your legs into your Svanasana action. Let the feet move away from one another. Be aware of the upper body. Be aware of the shoulder blades reaching towards the back waist. Let the outer shoulders become weighted towards the floor. Soften your throat. Soften your facial features. Release around the forehead. Release around the hairline. Soften the temples. Let the area of the jawline, particularly near to the ear, completely release. Become aware of the breath. Evenly take the breath through both nostrils. Become aware of the openness of the chest cavity. And on the exhalation, let the abdomen completely soften. Let the whole of the front body release to the back body. Just taking yourself slowly and deeply inwardly. If you're feeling nice and relaxed and wish to stay in your Shavasana, then do so. We're coming to the end of the video now. Namaste.